speaker, Mr. Giuseppe Caltabino from UK, and his designation is he's an author of Global Marketing Executive. Mr. Giuseppe Caltabino is a highly talented, results-oriented global marketing VP with 20 plus years success spearheading instrumental with business to business and business to customer operations, specializing in IT, software, industrial automations, energy and technology. As a renowned content marketing speaker and writer, he has achieved an essential place among the 2017 top 25 masters of multinational marketing and was voted as one of the 2016's most influential European business-to-business marketers by software company Tracker. Furthermore, he is an innovative, creative strategist with a passion for advising top global brands across the financial, technology, industrial and customer sectors to produce world-class content and digital marketing strategies, including Sennheiser, Electric, Vodafone, Generali, Due, Virgin Media, Capgemini, Aegon, AXA, Mutability, Barclays, Grant Thornton, Mergerware, and many more. Mr. Giuseppe is a powerful motivator who has spoken at an array of global marketing conferences, including the Digital Branding Summit, Content Marketing World 2017, CMA Digital Breakfast, Summit on Content Marketing, Festival of Marketing. Mr. Giuseppe has an MBA from Milan's SDA Boncai School of Management, a degree in engineering from the University of Milan, and is trained on Mirgus and Acquaintures at London Business School. He currently lives in London. I would like to welcome Mr. Giuseppe. Sir, it gives me a great pleasure, sir, for inviting you for the Global Digital Marketing Summit 2017, our biggest event, sir.
Thank you. Well, and thank you very much for inviting me. Yes.
Yeah, sir. So the stage is yours, and you can move on with your presentation,
Great,
sir.
thank you. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me here. Good morning, good afternoon to you in on the other side from London, the other side of the world. What we will discuss today is a very specific theme, which is how to apply psychology to design and content marketing with the goal of attracting visitor attention. So let me immediately go to the topic. Very short agenda, introduction. We will define why we are using psychology, how this can impact your content design and content strategy, how to influence behaviors of people who are consuming your content. We will see, sorry, we will see 3 psychology models today, and then a lot of examples, which are always the best way to apply all the theoretical things that we will see today. As it was mentioned, I'm a content marketer. I work in content marketing strategy. I've been working with many large enterprises, and that's basically my specialty, and that's the reason why I would like to touch a very specific topic related to content marketing in this case, which again is how to apply psychology principles to design and content marketing. So the goal is, as I said, how we will learn about some principles of psychology today, and how can we apply this to digital design and to content. So people who may be interested are all people in the digital world, people who are designing websites or apps, and people who are working on inbound and content marketing activities. What you will learn: how to apply psychology principles to design and content, how to facilitate visitors' behavior So basically how to help people to do what they already want to do. And then we will see, as we say, the three different models, three different psychology models. What we will not learn today is how to force a user into doing something they don't want to do. That's not really the purpose of the psychology, the principle of psychology we will see today. So it's more facilitating some behaviors that they are willing to do instead of forcing them. In addition, we will not talk about basic design principle, but as I said, we will touch a specific topic, which again is psychology principles. All right, introduction. What is psychology? Psychology is the scientific study of the human mind and its function, especially for what is related to behavior, human behavior in a given context. So whenever I talk about how to apply psychology principles, what I mean is how to influence behavior of people visiting your website, your content, or your apps. An important point on persuasion. I know that persuasion may have a negative aspect and can be considered in some cases as a dark art. But the reality is we will see today how to apply principle of psychology, as I said, to facilitate behavior that the customers or the visitors are already willing to do. So we are not learning how to force people to do something they don't want to do. And these are the three models that we are going to see today. The first is called the elaboration likelihood model, or ELM, which was designed by two psychologists, Mr. Petty and Mr. Caciocco. Then the second model we will see is Fogg behavior design from Mr. Fogg, and finally some persuasion principles from Mr. Cialdini, of course applied to design and to content marketing. Now let's start with the first model. The first model is very simple. Basically what Mr. Petty and Caciocco said, and this is a very general psychology principle, is not necessarily applied, of course, to the design. We will talk today to design and content marketing and digital marketing, but this is a general psychology principle. What they say is whenever we elaborate information, so in few words, whenever we are in front of a website, we may take two different paths, two different routes. One is called the central route, which means we are very interested in the message, we are very interested in the content, and we pay a lot of attention in what the content and design is telling to us. And then we have a second route, which is the peripheral route. In this case, we are not really interested in the message, but we may be influenced by other factors like source credibility, authority, visual appeal, design, presentation, and why not, humor, food, sex, other things. Of course, it is very important that we try to move people to the central route, because that's where they are more interested in our messaging. While again, if we have people visiting our website just by chance, they are using the peripheral route. In that case, it will be much more difficult to convince them to do some specific action. But let me go with some practical example. Let's consider a couple, two people, wife, husband. The husband and the wife decide to buy a new car. So they want to buy a new car. They start to search on Google. Now, the two people have two very different approach to buying. The husband is very technical. He loves mechanics. He wants to have a look at all details. So he will take the central processing route whenever he will go to the website to search about technical details for the car he wants to buy. There is some common space between husband and wife, and the common space is pricing. Both want to spend, of course, a very limited number of money, a quantity of money, but the way they approach the search of information is very different. So the husband will go searching for technical details, while the wife is very interested in design. So in that case, she will follow more a peripheral route. So that's basically the difference. Whenever people are very interested in your messaging, your topic, your theme, it's much easier to convince them or to facilitate some specific behaviors, and that's central processing route. In other cases, when they are not necessarily interested in your messaging, in that case, for instance, the wife was more interested in the design of the car and the beauty of the design, at that point, that's the peripheral routing. It is definitely more difficult to convince someone to buy, or eventually to convince someone to act with a specific behavior on your content and your website. Let's go with a different example. In this case, you may recognize the website. It's Amazon. Amazon is a very well-designed website, and they have elements of central process routing and elements of peripheral process routing for the two different kind of people. Let's go with this example. A person, someone want to buy a TV. He's very interested in details. He knows, again, all the technicalities. He want to compare technical feature of TV number 1 versus TV number 2. So basically, he will go to Amazon, and there are some specific elements that facilitate central routing processing. For instance, technical details or all the testimonials and the reviews coming from people. These are elements that are facilitating central route processing. In a different case, we have a second person, a second individual. He's not very interested in technical details, but he still go to the same page. And as you can see, there are different elements that are attracting him. First of all, the description and the picture, the big picture. You may have different views. You can see the design. One more time, the second individual is not very technical, is not very interested in technical details, is not interested in the messaging, but he wants to get more information about the design, some very light features. And you can see here that there are different elements on the same website that facilitate peripheral processing or accommodate people who are not specifically interested in the messaging and the technical details, which means the two different processing routes are of course in conflict, but you can accommodate both elements of design, facilitating the first or the second, and that's the case of Amazon. Let's go with a different example. Still Amazon. I'm visiting Amazon. I want to buy a watch. Again, in this case, I'm very interested in technical details. I know very well how watch works. I want to compare watch 1 versus watch 2. And this is a comparison, right? You go to the Amazon webpage, you have all the technical details, you have all the specification. This is a typical case of central route processing. But then, if I'm not very interested in technical things, I may be also influenced by some other factors. And take a look at, for instance, at the Tudor watch website. In this case, they are not using elements for empowering central route processing, but they are using other factors like fashion, like testimonials, which may facilitate people, again, not very interested in comparisons or technical details about the watch, but they will buy anyway the watch because they're influenced by different things. And that's the case, for instance, here with Tudor, you have David Beckham, or you may have different personalities like Lady Gaga. The reason why they are doing this is again, facilitating people who are not experts in that specific topic, which again is the watch, but they are trying to influence them using elements typical of the peripheral root processing. So at this point, I think it is clear that, first of all, as I said, it's more important that we try to drive people to the central root processing with the importance of our message, trying to explain why our content and our products are important for them. But if we cannot do that, we still have some elements based on the elaboration likely model, which can basically facilitate my behavior using, again, different factors. In this case, for Tudor was testimonials. Now, there are two specific factors that may influence central root processing. And we say that central root processing is the one we should try to facilitate, because it's easier with people using following this root processing to influence their behavior. There are two main factors. One is motivation, and the second is ability. And there is a second principle, a second psychology model, which is the Fog's behavioral model, which link the two factors, motivation and ability. So let's take a look at the second model. Basically, what the second model says is there are three different elements that can influence people looking at your content or visiting your website. These three elements are, first of all, motivation. The second is ability, and the third one is trigger. Now, let's analyze the three different factors. But basically, what Fogg says is only in case you have the three factors, so very high motivation from the person who is visiting your website, ability, so you make able your visitors to do specific action, and finally some triggers, and we will see what the triggers are call to actions. Whenever you have the three elements at the same time, in that case, you can influence people behavior. Now, motivation, that's the first one. This is straightforward. Whenever people are very motivated, they can do things. They can do very difficult things. If I'm motivated to buy something, I will go to a website and I will buy. Motivation is very difficult to force or to change, but there are still some factors that may facilitate people motivation. Some of these factors are status, access, power, and objects, gift, stuff. For instance, if I provide early access to some people versus other people to my website, I'm facilitating motivation of those people who will get access to my website as a first. You may remember many years ago when Google Mail was created, Google went with invitation. And I remember I had some friends getting early access to Google email, and I was really ready and willing to open my Gmail account, but I was not in a position to do that because I didn't get a specific personal invitation. So that's early access. I'm already motivated to write email, but if I get early access versus other people, I'm even more motivated. Status means you can get a specific status, again, versus other visitors, or I can get a gift. If I get a gift, or I can get something concrete from the people who own the website, of course, I'm facilitated and my motivation will increase. Let's go with some examples. You are probably familiar with Duolingo. It's an app. It's a language app, so you can learn different languages using this app. And this app is very smart. The way it's designed and the way the content is created is based on rewards. So you go with very small steps, step by step, learning a new language. And whenever you are good in answering all the questions, you get rewards. So you are already motivated to learn a new language, and basically that's the reason why you are downloading and using this app. But in addition, you are even more motivated because you are getting rewards and points. And Duolingo is very good in rewarding people. And that's again one of the factors that increase motivation. Vitality is an insurance, is an health insurance. So why they are using, why they are showing a watch on the design of their website? Because they are giving gift and they are increasing motivation to people who are already motivated. Because if you go to an insurance website, probably there is some reason you want to buy the insurance. You are getting information, so you're already a medium high level of motivation, but at the same time you are getting something in addition, which is a gift, and your motivation will increase. Similar situation, AXA Insurance, they are giving free of charge a gift card for a food store, Marks Spencer here in the UK, and you may ask why they are giving a gift card as a gift. It's an insurance, right? But again, you are motivated because you are visiting the website and you are probably willing to buy or anyway to get information about the insurance. In addition, you get something that increase your motivation. So that's basically the principle. Motivation is one of the three factors. Now let's take a look at the second factor. The second factor is ability. And again, this is very simple. If you make able your visitors, so if you simplify your website, there is a more possibility that they take actions and their behavior will follow basically your directions. Now, there are two ways to increase ability of people. The first is training people, and this is a bit difficult because it's not saying that you have the access to these visitors, and if you can, it's not saying that you can train directly these visitors. The second is simplifying your website. So we can say that ability and simplification, ability and simplicity are the two elements that can increase, again, the possibility for visitors to follow your direction or to do specific actions whenever you are on the website. Let's go with some example. Oscar is an American health insurance company, and as you can see from the website, it's very simple. It's super basic, super simple. It has been created by people coming from the tech industry, which have nothing to do with the insurances. But at the same time, their point was the general world of insurance is extremely complex. It's too complex. Why we have to spend time trying to figure out what this means? Let's try to create a new product, a new insurance, which is super simple. And you again can see from the screen how easy and simple is the first page with just a few choices, the classic plan, the simple plan. So you are basically increasing simplicity. You are providing ability. You are giving the possibility to the people visiting the website to immediately understand what you are doing, and then you can generate some specific behavior. For instance, buying behavior. Now let's go with a different case. This is a very old historical insurance, and you can see how different is the website. It's more complex, it's more wordy. I'm not saying that it's bad design, but what I'm saying is if you do a comparison between Oscar and the second insurance, it's very different. It's totally different. So the first one is easy, simple. You are very willing to go ahead and to discover what the information of the website and the content of the website is. In the second case, well, immediately as soon as I go to this page, I start to think about, well, okay, I need to learn, I need to understand exactly what it is. So it's not simple, right? It's not facilitating, it's not enabling me to go through the website. A second example, the town of Barcelona. This is the city, the website of the city of Barcelona. It's super simple. So whenever I'm a person living in Barcelona, Spain, and I want to do something like renewing my passport, I go to the website, super simple. I'm very incentivized to do actions. I'm already motivated because if I'm using this website, there is a reason, there is a specific reason, there is something I need, and then I'm simplifying, in addition to the motivation, also the website. Now take a look at this second site. Milan, Italy, very complex, very messy. Yeah, there are many colors. It may be interesting from a design aspect, but the reality is I don't understand exactly what I have to do, right? So I'm not facilitating simplicity. I'm not simplifying my visitor journey. And then we have a third element. Remember, motivation is the first. The second is simplicity. The third one is triggers. We marketers probably know triggers with the name of call to actions. But in general, the triggers are whatever thing that trigger a specific behavior, like a reminder, like a notification on my phone, like an email, like a push notification. All these things are triggers. So basically what Fogg behavior models say is if the person is very motivated, if we can simplify our website, and at the same time we send a specific trigger asking the visitor to do a specific behavior, they will do that specific behavior. So you need to have the three elements at the same time: motivation, ability or simplicity, and the trigger. Examples. Addison Lee is a taxi company in London, in UK. They send me continuously different kind of triggers. Can be email with a discount code, can be push notification on my iPhone. In few words, what they are doing is they are reminding me that if I'm interested in getting a taxi, I can use their service and I will get a discount. So I'm already motivated because I'm using a lot taxis in London. At the same time, their design and website is very simple. But the third point is they are sending me a trigger, so a call to action, just to remind me that next time I will take a taxi, well, I will use the discount and I will get basically to Addison Lee. Different kind of trigger. This is a paper, so it's a physical trigger. It's not a digital trigger. And in this case, it's Amazon Fresh. 20%, 20 pounds discount. Well, first of all, I'm motivated. I buy food. I buy food anyway. Second, Amazon is very simple as a website. It's very familiar. Third one, now they're introducing also food buying, and they're telling me, hey, if you want to buy food, you can use your website, the same where you buy TV, the same where you buy iPads, the same where you buy books. Go to the website, Amazon, and buy food. So this is a trigger, a physical trigger, basically that I got here in my house, where they trigger me. It's a call to action. They remind me that there will be something as a discount if I use their service. All right. So basically, these are the three elements. And just as a reminder, if you go with motivation, simplicity, and triggers at the same time, then you can influence people behavior, visitor behaviors. So you can facilitate the buying behavior or simply some specific actions on your website. The third model is what is called Cialdini's principles of persuasion. Cialdini was a psychologist, and basically what he's saying is whenever we elaborate information, whenever we are in front of a website and we start to think about content or the messaging of the website, in some cases we are totally overloaded from this information. So we go with some shortcut that simplify our decision. He called these signals, these shortcuts, reciprocity, consistency, scarcity, social proof, liking, and authority. Now, we will take a look at some of them, but in general, the concept is, again, whenever we are in front of a website, of course, it's better that it's a simple website, as we have seen. It's designed with call to actions, but in any case, we elaborate some internal information, right? And whenever we elaborate this information, if we find some specific shortcut or signals, we our behavior is facilitated. Now, let's take a look at the reciprocity concept. Whenever someone does something for me, I will go back and do something for him. Example, I go walking in London, someone say, good morning, I'm facilitated to answer good morning, right? Someone is doing something for me, and for the principle of reciprocity, I will do something for him. Other example, I go to a specific website like FreshBook. It's an accounting software as a service. They will give me 1 month free trial. And even after the free trial, there is a possibility that I will get an additional time trial. So the trial may be extended. So the reason why FreshBook or other companies like FreshBooks are giving something free of charge for 1, 2, 3 months is very simple. The concept of reciprocity. I'm giving something to you. Well, you may give something back to me. So you may buy my product. A different example, my company create an ebook, and I will give this ebook free of charge to the people who are visiting my website. But in exchange, I'm asking your name, your email, your phone number. Now, usually we don't give our email and phone number everywhere. But if the ebook is important, if we like something related to the ebook, at that point, we want to download the ebook and we will give something in exchange. The company is giving a free ebook to me. Okay, I'm fine. I will give him my name, my email address, my phone number. Different example, but very similar. Basecamp, a productivity and project-related software as a service. Again, very simple concept, very similar to the previous one. I can try this for free, I can test it, and then as an exchange, I may buy. Of course, it's not said that you will buy, but I may buy something. So again, this is a reciprocity principle. Blue Apron, it's an interesting concept. You buy a service every day or every week. Blue Apron will send you a box, food with a specific food you are requesting, and you can create a specific recipe. Now, the thing is, it's a very different way to buy food, right? You are getting a box in your house. Usually you go to the food store and you buy food, but they want to facilitate this, giving to you a $30 discount for the very first delivery, so you can test it. So again, it's the reciprocity concept. They give you something for free. In exchange, the second time, I will buy their product or their service. The second principle is scarcity, and this is very powerful and very straightforward. A great example is the deal of the day in Amazon, which means, hey, they are providing special deal with special price today, but tomorrow this will be no longer there. So if you want to make advantage of this special situation, act today. Take a specific behavior today. You can buy today. And that's the scarcity principle. A very typical example of the scarcity principle and is the one with the airline companies. Whenever you go buying your ticket for flying, you can see that there are very few seats available. And sometimes, like in this case with British Airways, what they say is, hey, we still have 2 seats, but this will go away very soon. So if you want to buy a seat, if you want to buy a ticket, if you want to travel today, do it right now. Otherwise, in 1 hour, you will basically lose the deal. So do we really know that there are only few seats available? We don't. But this is the application of the scarcity principle. There are only few things available, and you may find this everywhere with traveling website. Expedia, Trivago, you will find again this example again and again, many times. Whenever you want to book an hotel, you will see, hey, there are only few rooms available here. Again, we don't know if it's real or not, but what we know is this is a scarcity principle. And if I know that there are only few seats in my plane, I will buy the seats. So maybe I want to buy anyway, but I will my behavior will be facilitated and I will buy immediately now. Otherwise, I will lose the deal. And then we have social proof. I mean, human beings are social individuals, right? We live with social things. So whenever we discover that people like me are doing something, the tendency is I will do the same. Example, whenever a website is asking to you to register to an email newsletter, what they usually do is, hey, join our community, join your community of 600,000 people. Marketing Profs is a very well-known website for marketing services. They are consultant, they create events, and they write about marketing, content marketing, digital marketing. If you go to the Marketing Profs website and you want to register to their email newsletter, what they say is, hey, do you want to join our 600,000 people community? And what you think is, well, I'm a marketer. If there are 600,000 people like me who are already doing this, this is interesting. This is definitely something interesting. So I'm facilitating people behavior. It's a social proof. Let's go with a different example. Content Marketing Institute. This is a main institution for content marketing. And again, whenever you go subscribing to their website, you can see here, join over 200,000 of your peers. They don't say who they are, but they say your peers, because you are a marketer, you want to get information, and you want to join your community of peers. So this is again facilitating someone's behavior. In some other cases, it's even more detailed. For instance, FreshBooks, remember it's an accounting software as a service. The typical customer is a small, medium business. So it's a very small or micro business which is buying this service, this software service for accounting. What they do is using testimonials. So they use small business owners to say, hey, we are using this software and it's great. Now, if you are an owner, if you are the owner or the director sales, or you are the MD of a very small company, you have a look at these testimonials. These guys are like you, and it's a social proof. If they do it, why not? If they're happy with the service, I will probably be happy with the service. Let's take a look at the different example. In this case, Basecamp is even putting on a graph how much the community is increasing. So they are saying, hey, some years ago, our community was very small, but today there are many, many people who are testing our tools, our software tools, so you should do the same. Again, it's a social proof. Many people like you are doing this, so you are facilitated to do this. All right, and we are basically at the summary. We have seen as some basic principles of psychology can influence people behavior. The first thing we have seen is the elaboration likelihood model, which basically say there are two different processing routes whenever you are in front of an app or in front of a website. The first one is the central route, the second one is the peripheral route. It's always better to try to move people to the central route. The central route is when people are interested in your content, your messaging, your products. If you know that people are not necessarily interested in your messaging and products, you may influence them using factors like gift, like testimonials. You may remember the site with the testimonials like Lady Gaga or David Beckham. It's just to influence people who are not going through the central route. Then you have Fogg's behavior model, which is the second one here on the right. And Mr. Fogg basically saying, if you have a visitor on your website or your app, there are three factors. If these three factors happen at the same time, you will facilitate people behavior. These three factors are motivation, ability or simplicity, and triggers or call to actions. If you can simplify your website, if you can increase the motivation of your people, of your visitors, and at the same time, if you go with CTAs like email newsletter, email reminders, like push notification, like pop-up windows that remind you something, then you are influencing people behavior. And finally, what we have seen at the very end is the four principles of persuasion from Cialdini. Mr. Cialdini, what he's saying is, whenever we elaborate something, we are going to the website, some specific website, there are some shortcuts that will facilitate my behavior. One is reciprocity. If I do something for you, you will do something for me. If I give you free of charge an ebook, you will give me my your email address and name. Then you have consistency, you have scarcity. Remember the website of British Airways. If I tell you that there are only 2 seats available for a specific flight, you will immediately buy it because you don't want to miss the opportunity. And finally, the social proof, which means if people like me are doing something, why not? I will do it the same. So using social proof principle means clarifying to people visiting your website that there are many other people like you that are already using that content or website. So again, this is just a summary. And very last slide from my side. I'm writing on a blog which is called Content Across Borders, and you can find the script of my presentation. So how to apply psychology to design and content marketing and attract audience attention, with all information about what I've just specifically presented today. So thank you very much. Thank you again for inviting me to the conference, to the summit. I hope that
thank you, Mr. Giuseppe, for your thoughtful and wonderful presentation.